In this lesson, I want to teach you how to make the ciabatta, a good ciabatta dough. The ciabatta we know is a very light bread, big air pocket inside. So I'm going to teach you how to make the proper dough for that. So for the biga, we've got our flour, we've got strong bread flour in here, our water and the yeast. And we're just going to crumble the yeast a tiny bit with the flour. So it will all disappear. Mix it together. You could mix it by hand, but if you had a mixer, might as well. I put my water first in the bowl and put the flour on the top. Put the bowl on. And we just leave it mixed on slow speed. We don't want to make a dough with it. We just want to bring everything together. It's still a bit rough. You'll see what I mean by that. Don't be tempted to beat it up or make a very soft dough with it. This is not the point of that. We want this to ferment and look like a sponge, and actually look like a sponge. I want that texture inside. That's ready now. So I'm going to show you on the table what I mean. Sort them together. That's fine. Still rough, but let's have a look on it on the table. So if you look at this in here, if you look closely, it's still rough. It's not mixed. It's a very, very thick dough. Don't try to overmix it, okay? You can't go wrong with this. And that's all I do to it. Just bring it together a tiny bit, and that's all. That's all it is. Don't force, don't knead, don't do anything like that. And this goes in the bowl now. And cover it with a cloth and leave it at room temperature. It's fine, okay? Ambient. If it's really cold in your kitchen, put a plastic bag over the top also, but you know, it should be fine. So the biga now has been rested for 18 hours. So let's have a look. That beautiful texture. Look at this. That's what I talk about. Stunning, stunning. The smell is amazing. I love this. So that's going to be our base. We'll put this in a bowl. Our water, we've got some olive oil and some salt, sea salt, flour, and a bit of yeast in here. The first thing I'll do is put my water into the bowl. I use cool water because the mix is going quite long in here. If you put warm water now or hot water, your dough is going to be far too hot. So we use cool water. And my biga is going to go on the top of this. I'm going to rub my yeast and my flour together. Like so. And everything on the top of the bowl. And then put the bowl on now. So again, every dough we make on the mixer, form it on slow speed. So we blend everything together properly. And then we can see if there's anything missing or if we need to readjust anything. And then after we go on medium speed on this one. But before we go on medium speed, I will add the olive oil into it, but I'll show you that at the right time. So all the water and flour are all together now. So I'm going to put the olive oil now. If I put the olive oil at the beginning with the water, the olive oil acts like a waterproof coating for the flour. So it's much harder for the water to be absorbed. So it's a good trick when you do high hydration dough to add your water first and your oil afterwards. So we'll start dripping the olive oil in there. But all the oil now has been absorbed into my dough. It's not sliding anymore. So I'm going to add the salt now, leave it mix for another minute, and then we go on faster speed. As soon as you put the salt into your dough, the dough gets sucked up. So you just give you a bit less time of mixing, and also it's less white dough. The salt oxidizes your dough and can make it even whiter. So it's a nice trick to do with your dough. So now we're going to go on speed number 4 until the dough is completely clean on the side of the bowl. The mixer is dancing. So you can see now the mixer is really working really hard. A lot of dough in there. I can hear it slapping on the side of the bowl. The bowl is clean inside. So that's a sign, telltale sign that the dough is being ready. If I leave my mixer, it will jump over the table. It was clean on the side. Now we're going to finish it off by hand, add some olive to half of it, and then let it rest. You can see already, it's strong, but it's sticky. So, like we've learned all the time with dough, you cannot put that dough like that to rest just as it is. You need a top, you need a bottom, you need some shape into that dough. So to do that, I'm going to put the dough on the table, no oil, nothing to start with. Let it drop. I'm gonna keep my bowl because half of that dough will go back inside with some olive. Look at this. This will scare a lot of people, but after a few days with me, you'll be fine. This won't stick to your hand again. So how do you do it? Again, get your top and your bottom. Get your scraper, get it together, and show the dough who's the boss. You're the boss, remember that. Put it together. Your dough will be tame, and this is not sticky now. But there is the sticky side, so your top and bottom again. So my dough there is ready to rest, but I want to put half of that dough full of olive and a bit of fennel seeds. I'm going to cut the dough in half now. Use my scraper. Like so. You can see my sticky side is here, so just lift it a bit. That's one half. And the other one. So I'm going to add olive to that half in here. I want a lot of olive in there. So back in the bowl, and I got fennel seed and olive. Why fennel seed? Because it will bring the flavor of your olive. You can put tons of olive, you don't get flavor. Olive and a bit of fennel seed really bring everything together. So we mix it on the mixer. So when you add any fillings into a dough, especially with a dough hook, always on slow speed. Always on slow speed. Don't go too fast, you're going to break your dough down. What you want is just to add everything into it. So I'm on slow speed and I stay with the mixer. I'm looking inside what's happened. So when it's all incorporated, I'm happy. I finish it up by hand a tiny bit, and I'll be fine. So my olive are in the dough now. I'm going to finish it up by hand a tiny bit. Look at this. You can't just put the dough just like that. You need to give a top and bottom to that dough. So with fillings, with your scraper, bring it together, shape it a little bit. Here we go. And now we just add a tiny bit of olive oil. Just on top. Squeeze the dough together. And now it doesn't stick at all. And then we cover the dough, leave it ambient, room temperature, for a good 2 hours until they the dough will balloon. It will be triple in size, you'll see. So our ciabatta has been rested for 2 hours now. So you can use any big plank of wood, you can use a tray. I quite use a lot of flour because the dough is going to rest on that. I'm going to do the same on my table in here. And now we look at the dough. Look at this. Tiny bit of flour on the top. So remember the top and bottom. The top was on top of my bowl. That's sticky nice in here, that's my bottom. And we keep track of it. More flour. Kind of make a rectangle on the front of you. Cut the dough in half. Half again. Of course, you can make 8. You can make smaller size if you want to. And then we just lift them up, the sticky side up. Because when we go in the oven, we're going to turn them around. We're going to leave them ambient at room temperature, covered, about 30 minutes. So our ciabatta now, I've rested for half an hour on the board. So what I do, I turn them around on the board, and now you can see the stripe coming up. Leave them, take the excess flour out, and on the board. Good, so the ciabatta on the board now. Now we need to go quickly in the oven, open the door, on the board, lot of steam, close the door, and then we'll have beautiful ciabatta. Right, full steam ahead. Our oven is at 230 degrees. That's the highest I can get on this one. In about 7 minutes, we'll have a look at them. I'm going to show you the part baked. So ciabatta. So you can see there, the crust is forming already, but it's still very soft. It's not crusty as such. So that's a good way of freezing bread. So back in the oven for a few minutes. Here we go. Steamy. So you can see the difference on the color now. Much brown, beautiful, and that beautiful crunch on them. They will soften. There's oil in the dough, so they will soften a bit, and that's what a beautiful ciabatta.